Okay, looks like we should be on, and I'm about a minute early. So, what I'll do, we'll go ahead and test this out. Make sure we're broadcasting. If you're on, if you're jumping on yet, got one. Um, Let me know where you're coming from. Looks like 12. Jump in, say hi if you would on the chat there. We'll give it a few minutes to spin up, and then we'll get into today. So here we go. When I'm pulling over onto mine, I need to back that up. All right. Again, I'm checking over here on mine, make sure everyone can, or make sure we can hear it. But I think we're probably okay. And then we will get started here. We do got some things to talk about. Interesting week, I think. So now I'm down to zero. Is anybody even on there? Or is this ghosts in the machine? Okay, looks like we are live. I'll run over here. There we go. Everything appears to be working. So, all right. We ready? Okay, let's go. Thank you all for joining, watching this, whenever that may happen. My name is Thomas C. Davis. I'm the host of this show, The Ground Truth, from TN4, and also your candidate in the Republican primary for the U.S. House of Representatives, Tennessee's 4th Congressional District. Thank you all for taking the time to watch, come in and ask questions, and I got some topics we'll talk about. And then I'll run back through the Facebook and the Instagrams, any of those, and we'll answer any questions that popped up there. So there we have it. Okay, as we get started here, I do want to thank the organizations, the companies that have endorsed me. Tactical Response in Camden, Tennessee. They do some firearms training up there. And also here in McMinnville, Foghouse Firearms. Appreciate their endorsement of me and their support. They've let me get my petition signed there and do some things. So I do appreciate that. If you're in McMinnville, you need some stuff, accessories. They don't just do. They got some other stuff in there too. But stop in, check them out. And I believe they've got. Check them out on Facebook. Go give them a look. And then still finalizing another one, but in South Pittsburgh, Chandler Hardwood, and appreciate James down there, and the endorsement there. So anybody else out there, if you see this, you know somebody that might be interested, just hit us up, let us know. I'm more than happy to come talk to businesses, and I get it if organizations or businesses don't want to endorse a candidate. I'm not going to take it personal, even if it is if I don't represent you, whatever. I understand that you may not want to, put your business out there because I understand it could potentially cost you some dollars. So, but however that works out, that is where we're at. And like I said, I appreciate those organizations, the business owners, one of talking to me and that endorsement, their confidence in me. I appreciate all of those of you that have jumped up on the Facebook and added to that, and spreading the word. The team is growing. We got a lot of events coming up. Today we've got. I'm going to go out and help I'm going to surprise our Warren County Republican Party. I'm going to go out there and help out with the setup for the Reagan Day dinner tonight, and then I'll go out for a few minutes out to Morrison for the town-wide yard sale that we got going on out there, and one of the go see Mike out there who's helping with the campaign, supporting, getting the word out. So I'll go hang out with him. We got some new little flyers that he for him to hand out as he does his thing, and then I am excited too. We have got new t-shirts that we'll be carrying around are available. And we got these from a local organization or local producer. I'll look this up. Custom Prints, and that's Prince with a Z. Make sure I get the right folks here for us. Wait a minute, what just happened here? This. All right. Apparently, I was not ready to talk about this. Okay, I don't think this is it. So anyway, well, next we'll follow up with that, and next week we'll probably get to show what the shirts look like. Great job on these shirts. Again, they're out in Moore County, and did a great job on these shirts, and they produced some buttons for us, or the pin. I guess buttons is what we'll call them. But they put those together, came up with the new design. So we got a little bit of a new logo, if you will, going. Pretty excited about that and getting that out to everybody to run around this summer and wear. We are under 100 days. I think we're at 96 today, maybe 97 days until the election. So it's, we're ramping up like legit go time. I've been doing this for all of 25 and then the beginning of 26 up to this point. So yeah, it's not a whole lot new. We're just going to do a whole lot more. And and I appreciate any likes, shares, all those things that we do to get the word out, because I guess we can start talking about the issues here. And that is this week and the stuff that is going on with our representative, Congressman Desjardins. And pretty I don't know, telling how these guys vote. And when they, there's so much stuff that goes on up there, and then they bury it and then come back talking about, oh my gosh, this is so awesome. And when, if you read into the bill, it is not. Well, I mean, it's awesome for some folks, but not necessarily we the people. And the first one we'll kind of get into here is the talk about the Farm Bill. The first thing on this is that it heavily favors, it definitely favors the large corporate farms. It gives them subsidies, and then it's just we're not taking a look at this. We talk about our food security. We are more secure if we're buying our produce local, if it's being produced locally. And if those growers can make money, let them run it as a business. And that's why these corporate farms start getting the government subsidies, and they can operate at a loss, technically, if they're getting these subsidies from the federal government. And again, this money has to come from somewhere. Where does it come from? It comes from us, or it comes from deficit spending, which again, horrible idea. And then what it does down to our local farmers is then they have to compete with these guys, because they have to make all of the the federal regulations. They have to deal with that stuff. Yeah, it's just it's out of control, the federal intrusion into our lives. If you got a local farm, you're selling stuff at your farmer's market, you should not have to be subjected to federal regulation, and a lot of these folks are. And even just I talked to our honey guys, honey growers, and there's a name for it. I can't say it, but those the beekeepers, and it's based on how much you produce. So regardless of whether you're crossing state lines with the stuff, you're subject to the federal regulations, yada yada. And in some cases, these federal regulators got no idea what they're even doing. I did talk to one of the beekeepers, and he trained this federal inspector. It's like, are you kidding me right now? But yeah, that's the stuff that our local producers have to go with, or have to deal with. So, how about let's do a farm bill that doesn't favor the big corporate farmers? How about if you want to if you want to favor them, do it on the international stage, which you should be doing when they're shipping it overseas. And this goes back, we talk about this, but why can't I get an avocado that's grown here in the United States? I know we have them. Instead, I have to get avocados from Mexico. So, yeah, so I don't get avocados typically. I do sometimes, but and we are truly trying to get more of our food from local. So we are doing the farmers market. We got went in with another friend of ours. We're gonna split half of a half. So we'll each get a quarter cow from friends that produce cattle. So, or raise them, breed them, do the things, and we get them slaughtered locally. So, and that's the other thing that, especially like with the processing the animals, the big ones got a lock on it, and then again, your smaller producers are subject to these things. That's why we have this stranglehold. And yeah, it's ridiculous. Just get the federal government off our doggone necks and let the American people do what we do, which is business. And again, I would encourage everyone to do that. Look locally as best you can. And I know here in the 4th District, we got tons of places to include, even in Murfreesboro, farmers markets. Go out to those places and, as best you can, get your stuff locally. Again, I understand, busy lives and all that, and you're not going to be able to get that, but develop some of those relationships, because the federal government does not have our best interests in mind until we start sending people up there that does have our best interests in mind. So, but on that pesticide one, I would have been a yes vote to remove those protections. These pesticide companies, they should not have a federal cover against lawsuits. That's absolute insanity. And now, and some of this, it is tied to, and we'll hear about I'm sure that's going to be the defense or the kind of the pushback to back and forth is that if the EPA approved one of these products, and then, you're going to turn around and let them get sued in the States. Heck yes. How many times do we have to see our government approve things that turn out to be horrible? And this includes pesticides. Let's go back. Let's talk Roundup, right? Yeah, the states can figure this stuff out, and we the people can figure it out, especially now with the connectivity that we have. And no, the federal government does not need to be running cover for these corporations. And I hadn't. I'm just kind of getting spun up on this particular aspect of the farm bill, but let's check the money, because that's what happens. Is our politicians start receiving money from the pesticide companies, the ones that produce this trash that's poisoning us. And again, EPA has been approving this stuff, so maybe we are looking at the wrong place. Maybe we should be suing our federal government for allowing this to happen, or those in it that said, yeah, this is good. Because understand who is doing the studies on determining that this stuff is safe. It's not the government; it's those agencies that, look into it. I'm telling you, and it's people. These guys, they bounce back and forth from government to working for the business, and it's all designed. It's about the corporations making money, which they should, but not at the expense of dumping horrible chemicals. In the name of, all right, we got to to produce the food, which we do, but there are farming methods that can handle all the bug problems, that can handle, ridiculous. We act like people didn't eat and grow stuff before the invention of all these pesticides. So, but yeah, there should absolutely not be any federal protection for these jokers. And I said the EPA, their methods and how they approve this stuff is suspect. And again, we got very recent examples Look at there was a vaccine that was pushed down everybody's throat, and those that took it, I mean, it's coming out now. Look at all the stuff. Um, yeah, and they're still talking about take the yeah. You want the Wuhan shot? No. How about no? Okay, that's where we are. Pesticides. Like I said, our rep Scott Desjardins voted. Like I said, he voted to keep those protections in place. So, and this guy's a doctor. Like, are you kidding me? And you haven't figured out that all these pesticides are horrible. Yeah, we ought to. So in Tennessee, I think we passed in Tennessee the labeling requirement on the GMO'd stuff, and then because they were trying to put that vaccine into our plants. Should be talking. We should have warning labels about the doggone cancer causing stuff on what pesticides were used. So anyway, there we go. And again, with the federal spending, we do still have a partial government shutdown going on. I don't know. I believe if it were, if I was being impacted that I would already have another job. I'm not coming in. And I look at some of this stuff, and through the history of our nation, where our government has come in and like compelled people to work. No, not happening. You cannot make me work if you're not paying me. That's not happening. At least not long term. I may be okay to suck it up for a minute, but you got to be kidding me, man. I got a family to feed, and as I'm sure y'all out there do too. And then we get instances. We've had instances with strikes and negotiations and yada yada. And then no, you're not going to take me to work at the end of a bayonet. We're going to have a problem. And you on the other end of that bayonet are going to be the one that has to deal with me. So, and that's not the nation we live in, and we shouldn't. So, again, comes back to a little bit of a divide. And then, and truly, we the people have that power to negotiate that. And yeah, so I don't know. Again, I'm not a huge, union guy, and they have served their purpose. Occasionally, they're okay, but just we can vote with our feet, and that's consumers too, and especially now. It's like, all right, quit buying here. They're, I don't know. I don't know how effective that would be, honestly, given that we all, we're so dependent on our cheap foreign goods, in particular, the Chinese made stuff. Another discussion. We're told that they're our biggest adversary, but here we are tied to the hip for a bunch of nonsense from them. And in some cases, not a bunch of nonsense. Pharmaceuticals, not a huge fan, but they do have a place. Why are we dependent on these guys for a lot of stuff? A lot of our infrastructure stuff, if you're not aware, we can only get some of these products from overseas because we outsourced all our manufacturing, not all of it, but a large chunk of our manufacturing. Ridiculous. And again, this, we've allowed it to happen, and so we can take it back. Okay, next one I'm kind of getting into is federal spending, which is still, we have a representative now who's on board with the deficit spending. He's on board. He's lining it up. And you see, and I support our president. I believe he's doing a great job, but I'm America first. And I do not just line up and, try and out Trump everybody. I'm the Trumpiest Trumper there is. No, that my job as the representative is to represent this congressional district. And that part of that job is being present in the district, which ours is not. And part of that mission or that job is to defend our God-given rights and liberties from a tyrannical government, or just government. Make sure our government is doing the job we have told it to do, the contract we have made, and to keep it within the left and right limits. And we are not getting that out of our Congress. A lot of these issues they won't even tackle, and the excuse as we hear, oh my gosh, it's hard to get stuff done with this thin majority. And you know what? Knock it off. Knock it off. There are tools available to you to do. Talk about some of the issues. Birthright citizenship. Fix that crap now. They've had 2 shots at this. Trump's first term in office, hit the first 2 years, House and the Senate, and they chose to do nothing with it. And this is both sides. We're getting crap out of both sides because they don't want to fix the problems. They just want to keep us, keep us fighting out here until they burn this country down, man. It's like we got a dumpster fire going, and these cats are just throwing freaking gas on it, man. Both sides. And, and the Republican side is where, obviously where I'm at. They have the best platform, but we got the weakest leaders that we can possibly have. We have got a serious lack of leadership going on. They won't stand on principle. Same thing with the House. You look at the House, they'll pass legislation that's really pretty solid in some cases. It goes to the Senate, and I'll use the transgender affirming care as one of them, because I saw Congressman Desjardins come out and talk about, oh my gosh, it's awesome. We passed out of the House, and he's not really lying to us, but he's misrepresenting in that, he was all excited, as excited as that dude gets. Like, yep, we got rid of the transgender affirming care out of the House. Okay. Yeah. They passed that legislation out of the House of Representatives and took it out. But here's what happened. It went over to the Senate. The Senate stuffed most of it back in. It went back to the House for that approval. And they're like, yep, we're good. And I did not hear, I didn't see anywhere where Congressman Desjardins came back around and said, well, we tried. We don't even get that. All we get is these doggone excuses and no accountability. He will not take accountability for what he does up there. Occasionally he'll call into 99.7 selection season. So you're seeing a lot of the, postings on Facebook. He's popping up there. Yeah, absolutely ridiculous. So, but again, federal spending, he's on board. Let's go. He's on board with raising the debt ceiling. And truly, we do not have an income problem in this nation. We have a spending problem, and our Republicans, they need to quit trying to say that they're fiscal conservatives, because they're not. Again, a House-controlled or a Republican-controlled House and Senate, and they chose to raise the debt ceiling. That clock is still moving. The debt number. We're pushing up on $40 trillion in debt. It has to end. And it ends with us here in the 4th Congressional District. And somebody that'll actually go up there and fight and work within the system. And like, we cannot keep doing this. And here's how we do it. I heard, and I didn't look into this, but I'm reasonably sure of the source. They were talking on 99.7 that my numbers may be a little bit off here, but 193 countries, I think, on the face of this planet right now. Of those, we are giving money to 176 of them. No, stop it. And we allow ourselves, or our executive branch, we get tied in to stuff we got no business, and send them money, and to include militarily. Knock it off. We've got enough problems going on here. We do not need to be trying to solve everybody else's problems. It's just, absolute insanity. So there we go. Federal spending. Okay, now let's move to some local stuff, which is, in particular, we'll talk about the VA, the clinic here in McMinnville, and then just the VA in general, and how this whole mess has been going down. And it's an absolute train wreck. And it's, still, and we're not hearing anything back about it. And as far as us and our rep here in the 4th, again, our Scott Desjardins told us he had no idea that this was that this clinic was being closed, which I'm going to be honest, I find that hard to believe, but I'll take him at his word. Okay, you didn't know. And if that's the case, that just absolutely, hammers again the point that he's not in the district, doesn't care enough to know about this stuff. We hear all the time. And I mean, he's told me, hey, thanks for your service. Like, okay, great. How about you keep a doggone clinic open? But hear all the time about oh yeah, I support veterans. I think it's his son, I think is at Annapolis. And this is the kind of support that you're gonna, give to your kid, as you don't know what's going on with the VA. At some point he'll I'm gonna assume completes however long he serves honorably, and he'll have access to that stuff. And this is the legacy you're going to leave as an organization that's just in chaos all the time. So yeah, so he's told us he didn't know it was being closed. Okay, again, so you're not in the district, and now there's no fight in this guy. He didn't even give a harshly worded letter to the secretary of the VA. And then he doesn't take the lead. We did have Congressman Rose had been kind of stepping up and took a more aggressive stance on it, if you will, to keep it open and at least have a better plan. If you watched any of the other videos, that the plan they have for the veterans here in Warren County and the surrounding, because it's not just Warren County, but it's a horrible plan that they already have, and I'm sure it's going to be executed in a manner that is will leave something to be desired. So, and actually, I've already heard of guys that they're not getting the calls, and they're just like, hey, guess what, dude? Now you got to go to wherever, and then wherever they're sending us to are not necessarily staffed to have it. So and then the excuse of it's a contracted. We have a lack of a better term, I guess, but we'll call it outside contractor running this facility. That's the wrong answer. At the end of the day, the VA is responsible for the operation of this clinic. And so for them to like, well, throw your hands up. It's not us. It's not. Yes, it is you. You are responsible, my friends. And you allowed this clinic to fail. You allowed it to fail. And this is your answer? Horrible. And then just the VA in general, you look at the money they're putting in now to advertising, and maybe, and to be fair with it, I guess I hadn't been following them on Facebook, but they're doing a whole lot of gaslighting, trying to tell us, exactly how great our coverage is. It's not, and we can do better for our veterans. And this, I'll talk a little bit about one of my haters on there talking about. His plan is to just abolish the VA, and veterans get the same as like a disability compensation, or however it works for the disabled folks going in. Which I've been doing some other stuff this week, so I didn't look into that. I will try and find out sometime maybe next week. We'll talk about it a little bit, but not knowing the system, I don't know. Part of the problem and I'm an end user of the system. My plan would be to definitely downsize the VA, and a card, like a credit card or a thumb drive with my information on it, and then I can go wherever I need to go. And there are different, you have different levels of care or whatever. So that would be something that would be a deeper discussion on this, is what that contract actually is, how much coverage does it get, or you put the guidelines, you get in where you fit in. But that's kind of the discussion. Like, okay, but come back to my thumb drive or my card, all my information is kept on that, and then you just go to the civilian docs, whatever you want to find, the ER, whatever your particular case is. Here locally, I find a provider, and I just go in, and then they bill the government at whatever the current, whatever the going rates are. And that's where the VA comes in to make sure we're not getting overcharged for some stuff. And even now we're talking about you go to the VA, and they're, we run our claims, our disability claims, and they're the ones that approve this stuff. And then they want the control of of who represents you. And there are a few other organizations, and then they go out and bash the, hey, you got to be accredited through the VA to do this thing. It's like, what? No, yeah, they're just absolute nonsense, and that's why it gets so frustrating for a lot of guys that they give up on the process, and they legit have some claims, but they're, especially the younger guys, that they just give up on it, and then years down the road trying to prove that stuff when they're in a place where they do have some more time, and it has got to a point where it's a problem. It's just absolutely ridiculous, this whole system we got. So that would be more my idea, my plan, and for that, and I don't know how impactful it is for people to be able to to port their stuff from place to place. I mean, if you travel, it certainly is, and it's, I'm telling you, it is not an easy system to navigate. So I can certainly agree we need to figure out something, whether that is just getting rid of the VA altogether and just putting us on the complete disability coverage. I don't know. I feel like that one managed by the federal government too, or even states, is going to be a horrible idea. But like I said, I have, I'll put some effort into it and check it out. Okay, that's the VA. So again, our guy doesn't really care about us. And I go back to, talking about the town hall. More important for him to go talk about missiles than to come stand with the veterans and their families. That just, okay, I guess your shiny missiles, more important than the people you're supposed to represent. And especially, talking about, oh, I support the veterans. Nah, dude, your actions speak a lot louder than your words. Okay, next on my list, we'll touch on the migration, refugees. And this is the ongoing, again, and our Congress will not follow up. We need to pause all this stuff, all the refugees. Stop. Absolutely zero refugees should be coming into this nation right now. And you say what you want, but there is absolutely nothing in the Constitution that says it is up to us to take in all these other people that are suffering the atrocities that they do. Heartless, whatever, but it is not a function of the federal government to do that. Absolutely not. I don't know. Go read a dang Constitution, and if you're trying to twist it in somehow, what you're doing, your answer, you're wrong. And I'm not. Yeah, we can figure something out, but right now, again, almost $40 trillion in debt. All the problems we have that we need to fix in this country. No, we should be taking zero refugees, and then we should be taking a look at all refugees that have been allowed into this country for the last probably 20 dang years, and vetting them and looking at social media, looking at how they've conducted themselves, and absolutely revoke status. And if they're in a process, same deal, and send them back. How about no on refugees? It's not our job to do that. And say, talked a little bit already, but our Congress will not follow up with America first. And that's America first, my friends. We have got to stop this invasion that's going on. And it absolutely is an invasion. And then we get people which that migrate, immigrate, and whatever. Like our congressman, I don't know where she represents, but Ilhan Omar talking about World War XI. Really? That is just absolute insanity. You can't make this stuff. And you know what? She is going to get reelected. That chick will get reelected. And it's just absolute insanity that we send people like that. And again, on the Republican side, that we got issues too. But just to come out and talk about World War XI, oh my gosh, you are straight. And if you have, you can like look at her like like stutter stepping. I was like, yeah, And she just went with World War 11. Oh, yeah. This is who represents us. Um, and for and our congressional rep, he hasn't said World War 11, but he has been on with Matt Murphy and I think the other one, but he doesn't know the Constitution. So why are we going to hammer her for not knowing World War 11? Or for saying World War 11? Like, oh my gosh. Yeah. um, and like I said, our rep didn't know the where they were passing the whatever the bill was. Like, I don't even know that. I don't know where that is, where we get that authority from. But we're going to do it. Not his exact words. That's not an exact quote, but that's the gist of it. Like, you got to be kidding me, bro. That's some. Is it that he's already said he's too busy for us because now he's the chairman of a subcommittee in his 8th term, that he's too busy for us. So you're too busy to pick up the doggone Constitution, which is part of your job. That's why you're there, is to protect us from a government getting into things it's not supposed to be doing. It's called enumerated powers for a reason. That's all they're supposed to do. And when they get outside of it, it's no good, no bueno, as some folks say. Yeah. So there we are. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the calendar. We'll go ahead and cover that at this point. So yeah, tonight, well, back up a little bit. Yeah, so I am going to go, I'm going to pop in over there at the Warren County for the preparation going on for the Reagan Day dinner. I'll go help out with that a little bit, and then I'll be over to actually go to see Mike over in Morrison and hang out with him for a little bit. Come back home, and I'll start getting my stuff around for the Reagan Day dinner tonight. Hey, you may be able to go check if you happen to see this, see if they still got tickets. I will get some time on the stage, so we'll get to see that. Let's see. Tomorrow, where is that? No, I'm not doing that. Yeah, nothing solid. No. Oh, yeah. Tomorrow I will be back out in Manchester with Mike in the morning. I think I'll be out there probably about 7. I'll stay till about noon. And then we have back to the strip in McMinnville tonight. So I'll be out. I'm going to do a little bit of cruising. I got a new banner holder I'm pretty excited about. Interesting that's, a thing. But I like the look of it. It has some other applications. So, yeah, I'll cruise the strip a little bit tomorrow. And with my little banner out, talk to folks, see if we can pick up some more votes. That's what we do. And then moving into next week, we will do. You know what? Yeah, I got to make a call. Maybe I'll be out in Lawrenceburg on Monday. That's a maybe. Yeah, we'll start filling this stuff in. And then what is it? That's the first Thursday, National Day of Prayer. So I might be able to do those. Oh yeah. So it looks like Lincoln County has their GOP meeting. I think I'll stop into Lincoln County to that meeting. And then also we have National Day of Prayer on the 7th of May. Looks like we have that on. Time is to be determined. So depending on the time, I'll go out to that. And then we got the 9th. Oh, looks like there's pork and bands is going on. That's in Warren County, I believe. No, I don't have any. It says Warren County High School, so we'll probably go out and do that. And then the Collins River Fire Department is having a fundraiser out in the Medley Market in Irvin College, is what my calendar says. So we'll probably take a trip out there. Hey, I do want to talk. We'll go into our town hall. So we have changed the date. We had been talking about the 13th of June. We're actually going with the 20th of June. And long and short of it, we wanted to deconflict with Sequatchie County. conservatives out there in that town hall. And it was, yeah. So anyway, that's how it shook out. We're doing the 20th, and we're gonna hold it at the Coffee County Vet Building again, and that address is, let's see, I'll get to it here. I get 130. Let's see. I got to do the search here. Here we go. Boom. So that is the Coffee County Veterans Building. Why is my 130 Shelton Road? There it is. Yeah, didn't make it into that one. Oh, yeah, there it is. So 130 Shelton Road in Manchester. This one, we are going from 9 until 1 o'clock is my full up time. We are going to 9. What do I got? 9 to 9:30 is candidate arrival. We'll set up. So if you're part of a candidate crew, you can show up at 9 o'clock, start setting up. 9:30, we open the doors. I may have to rethink this. Yeah. So 9:30, my plan is, 9:30, we open the doors. 10 to 11. Okay, I gotta redo some stuff, but I'm looking because I want some time to open the doors. So actually, we'll just say open up at 9 o'clock instead of messing around here. So 9 o'clock, we'll open the doors. That'll be set up too, so be ready. And then 9:30, we're doing the invite same way. Republican gubernatorial candidates will be invited to this, and then so that'll be 9:30 to 10:30. 10:45 to 11:45 will be the Republican congressional candidates. We'll send out the invites to the other two. I am hosting this, my campaign, and then 12:45 to 12:15 will be one-on-one engagement with the candidates. Probably right at 12:15, 12:30, we're going to kick folks out. Actually, probably 12:15. I'm just going to plan for that, and then so we can get the place straightened out if we need to. Because they have somebody coming in right behind us at 1 o'clock. So I want to be considerate of the Veterans Building and those folks coming in behind us. So that's so we do got a little bit of wiggle room in there. But yeah, expect to open we'll open at 9 o'clock. That's fine. That works. So that, again, the 20th of June, 20 June, 9 o'clock is your show time. So plan to be there. And then our candidates their RSVP time is the 22nd of May. So I gave them 20 some days here to respond and reply to us. And then after that, if we may change the timeline up depending on who decides to show. My money, I think Monty might be able to come out of the three. He's the most likely to show up. I don't think our other, and I don't know. You never say never, I guess, but about 99% sure, probably 99.9% that I won't even get a response from Scott Desjardins or his people. That's just how the dude is. So I would expect Rocky Jones will show. I don't, at this point, I don't know if he doesn't already have something on. I would expect him to show up. But yeah, John Rose, maybe he's more likely and I'm going to go with no on Marshall Blackburn. So I don't know. Drop some comments, man. I haven't even talked about that. Drop some comments. Tell me who you think's going to show up, who won't show. And if you are unavailable, start sending the questions in. Email them to us, tomdavistn4@gmail.com, and just give us a subject line, town hall, and then drop your question. Because it's the same format. It's completely unscripted. I don't have a moderator yet. I got a couple folks in mind that I'm going to ask, but and I'm not 100% if it's going to be broadcast live or not. We'll see who I get to moderate. But so you come in, drop your write your comment or write your question down. And everybody gets a chance to answer it. We'll have 3 to 5 minutes, I guess, of introduction. I think I'm going to say 3, and we're going to put a clock on it because you start talking longer, nobody cares. You're there to answer questions. You already know about people probably. But we'll at least give that, enter that 3 minutes to introduce yourself, and then get after it. Start answering questions, and then yeah, I'll do that switch over. So and then get back at it again with the congressional candidates. So, but yeah, so drop the comments. Who do you think is most likely to show? Obviously, I will be there. It's my deal. So weird things happen, so it's possible. But yeah, my plan is to be there. So that is the town hall. And now moving forward, and like I said, I don't. We're going to sit down this weekend, and we'll start dialing in some stuff, and we'll put it out ahead of time. Facebook mainly. So as far as where I'm going to be, and my plan is we'll start going back out again to the farmers markets, and I'll just post up somewhere, and hey, let's talk. And so like I said, we will advertise that or put it out Facebook, so you'll have some access to that, so you'll know, so you can plan ahead. And that's throughout the district. If you have any ideas, drop some, send us an email or post it on Facebook. And hey, if I said the more we dig into this and the more we see Scott Desjardins in action, the more disappointed I am. These guys have no. They should read the Constitution. I think they should probably. I would. They should take like of probably 100 days. Say the next cycle, like we are passing exactly 0 laws, and read the doggone Constitution, and like have some scholars come in, have some classes, and do your dang homework. I mean, they're obviously not doing it on their own time, and because the whole point of this was a limited government, and we have the federal government, so far down into our lives, it's absolutely ridiculous. That's another one I've started. let's we got some time here, so let's talk about these doggone kill switches that they're talking about in our vehicles. This is supposed to be the land of liberty, right? And not the land of the Minority Report. I mean, that's where we're going. We expect the government to absolutely, like, oh my gosh, we're going to protect you from drunk drivers. No, you're absolutely not going to do that. We can't do it already. You already have. We can provide some punishment for these folks, and we absolutely should. But put the kill switches in their dang vehicles. Make like we do now. We don't have the breathalyzer, device in every vehicle, because it's absolutely ridiculous. And here's some things we'll run through, right? So some other side of this, like, okay, I'll give it to you. If it shuts your vehicle down and won't let you drive, if the system, the AI, if it thinks you're impaired. But what about, and this is what about the snake bite, right? Oh man, I'm out, like, I got bit by a snake. Now I got to drive myself somewhere, right? Because whatever, there's nobody, the pregnant, woman, like, oh my gosh, nobody's here. Now I got to drive to the hospital. So of course your heart rate's going to be elevated, unless you're just that person that's cool, calm, collective all the time, and the AI is going to be like, yeah, no, just handle this on your own. Not the job of the government to try and protect us in that. What this is control. So next step stuff. And if you think I'm wrong about this, then I don't know where you've been. But next level is, your social credit scores. You're, like, okay, guess what? For the environment, you can only drive, pick your number. You can drive, 100 miles a week, a day, of whatever. And once you hit that, you're good. Shut it down. Or it goes back to you'll own nothing and be happy nonsense. Yeah, and Ford now is looking at the technology. Now here's what I would say is for that organ, and even then Ford. So I'm just gonna. There's a couple different levels to this, but I would be okay with a kill switch, very, very, very limited scope, and it would only be connected to starting and stopping the vehicle. But if you are making payments, you technically don't own it, right? Until you have made that last payment. Once you've made that last payment, this device, and it needs to be a hard device, not software, can be removed. So the company that you have went into an agreement with, and you are paying to use this piece of equipment, you're renting to own basically, um, that they can shut it down and come and get it. Or then now you're compelled to work with them. That one I'd be willing to have a discussion on. But this whole business about the AI cameras in there, and they're gonna determine whether you're okay to drive. That's a horrible idea, and we're not even going to think about the other side of it, right? How many lives are we going to put in danger because of this? Yeah, or if it malfunctions while you're blazing down the road. Yeah, absolutely ridiculous. This is liberty is dangerous, my friends, and we allow ourselves to swallow this nonsense for our safety. And it's not for our safety; it's for our control. And if you think I'm wrong, I don't know where you've been. So, yeah, that's another thing. And FISA, that's another one. FISA, and our rep is voting for it. And this is allowing the FBI to spy on us with disregard to the Constitution. There's a process, but we've all seen it be abused, and they can do it on the back end, like, oh, we didn't need a warrant because we bought all the information, and this is our tax dollars, and they're buy all this information from these companies that are collecting all the data on us. Next thing you know, your bank account has been froze. It's about control. Look at Canada and what they had go on when the folks up there tried to protest, and they shut bank accounts. They froze bank account. Yeah, no, we are definitely in some dangerous times out there. And most of us, we just swallow it. Like, okay, that and don't care that our representative is voting yes for it. I haven't seen it, but I'm reasonably sure that Congressman Desjardins voted along with it, because again, President Trump said, "Yeah, let's do it now," which blows my mind away, because that was the whole Russia hoax nonsense. That's where the lying on the FISA document, or to the FISA court to get a warrant to spy on them. That just absolutely ridiculous. So, but so President Trump said do it. I'm sure he was all over it. Like, oh yes, I got to do, I must do what Trump says. Like I said, don't get me wrong. In most instances, and I think overall he's done a good job. Some of the methods I'm not a fan of, but at the end of the day, I didn't hire the guy to be nice. I didn't hire him to put out nice tweets. But this with FISA, no, I definitely would have been in opposition to that. That's trash. Absolute trash. And again, how many times do we got to understand that the FBI is not working for us? They're any of this stuff, ATF, they're not working for us. Yeah, take a breath here for a second. Yeah. And how many times do we need to see these abuses of power? Yeah. Okay. Did we talk about? We got a couple minutes. Let's talk about our reps and their conduct up there, and how this goes down. So we had the House resolution come up to provide the information about the sexual misconduct, the investigations, the outcomes, whatever they go on in the House of Representatives. And understand, there's a slush fund up there, and I've heard taxpayer funded. I've heard a combination of that, and I don't know, they're all chipping in. I don't know, like a subscription, right? Like, hey, this is my sexual misconduct insurance, so here's I'm paying my dues for that, and then all right, go sexually harass somebody, now we got to pay them off. But that stuff's been going on, and the resolution came up that would have made that information available to us, and our rep said, let's send that mess over there to die in committee, because again, he's apparently is fine with sexual harassment. He's fine with covering it up. Do with that information what you want, but that's what that communicates to me. That's what that says to me. And we heard the nonsense about the victims' identities, that that stuff was to be redacted. And I will tell you, these guys do not care about the due process, about the victim's identity, until, or at any time. What they want that stuff kept secret for is when they need to use it against somebody for leverage. And I'm going to use the example right now of Eric Swalwell. The guy is horrible, but they all knew the stuff was going on. I mean, this guy is, he's sleeping with a dang Chinese spy, and they do nothing. Everybody knew, and all this stuff. They're like, oh, everybody knew. And his friends get, the senator, where's that guy out of? But he's getting hemmed up too, because probably they're like, hey, dude, go tell your boy to drop out of this governor race in California. We're trying to consolidate some votes, because if all of you jokers show up, then you're gonna dilute the vote, and we're gonna have a Republican governor. And Swalwell's like, nope, not happening. So then now all this stuff comes out, like, oh man, we got all this information on you. And so now they want to use it. And nobody is screaming about the victims' identities. Oh, we got to protect the victims' identities. Nobody is hammering away like, hey, due process, innocent until proven guilty. Nobody. It's just, bro, this is happening. Get out of the race. And so he did. And then resigned Congress too, right? Like, you guys are clowns, man. This is not how the game should be played, and we allow it. And we allow it, and by sending the same people back up there. And like I said, that act, or that resolution, hopefully would have squashed some of that stuff. But our rep was like, nah, we're cool. Let's continue. Let's continue with the sexual impropriety, sexual misconduct, sexual assault in a lot of cases. Same deal. That's the only thing that got Tony Gonzalez over there in Texas is 23rd out of it, to get a better candidate. And I think Brandon Herrera would have won, but it just cleared the way, and good for him. Brandon Herrera, not Tony Gonzalez, or the victim, I'll call her. And that's horrible stuff with that woman and that family, and just, all of it is absolutely ridiculous. You're going to go up there and abuse the position like that. You're trash. Makes me sad too. That Tony was a vet, I believe, or yeah, like these guys, man. So, but that's what we get. This is what we get if we keep sending these same people up there. And we have got to take this country back, because we are 100% on the road to ruin. I can't, I'm not, Johnny Wishbone psychic extraordinaire, but I can tell you, we cannot keep spending it, $2 trillion in the deficit. And these guys don't have the stomach to stop. In fact, we first started into this new Congress. Congressman Dave Charlie's like, well, I don't usually vote for these, but it's like, now I got to get on I got to get on board, because I don't want to catch the wrath of the party or whatever, or President Trump. Yeah, but and we're all feeling it now. I don't know. We just hit. I don't know here in Warren County, but I know. We were driving around last night or yesterday up through Rutherford, and then that was that was Coffee County, I believe. Yeah, like 405 for your doggone regular unleaded. And then now we're going to catch the trash gas, the 15% ethanol, absolute trash gas, and nothing we can do about it unless we send new people up there. That's bad business anyway. Any of that ethanol, cut this crap out, or completely design the cars to run on ethanol, and then just get off the petroleum, at least for that, or give us options. Stop taking money from all these organizations, and putting protections in place for these large companies. That's Yeah, we'll see. I believe it's worth fighting for. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing this. And so as we come up to the end of it here, I do appreciate your time, your attention, and participating. This is what we need to do, is take it back, and this is how we do it. Is we find representatives that will at least read the Constitution, and not try and make it weird with putting stuff in, trying to control our lives. So do the things, if you would. Like I said, the likes, the shares, the comments, the pass it around, tell your friends, tell your buddies, show up at the events, and let's do this. We have got to do something different, and yeah, otherwise we're cooked, as the kids are saying. So all right, with that, the next one, let's see. We're May 1st. Yeah, we'll go. I think this is our time now, Friday. So next Friday, the 8th, will be our next show, our next live stream, 8 to 9. I look forward to seeing you there. Till the next one, this will defend.